branded itself to Coforge, signifying the belief in forging strong alliances with clients, partners, and emerging technology providers. The firm has been on a growth journey, working as a global digital services and solutions provider that leverages emerging technologies and deep domain expertise to deliver world-class business impact for its clients. FY23 indeed has been a landmark year for the firm, and to provide more insights on the same, we'd like to welcome here on stage Mr. Sudhir Singh, CEO and Executive Director of Coforge, to take us through the business and financial highlights for Q4 and FY23. So on that note, with a round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Singh for the important insights. Mr. Singh, please. With a round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Sudhir Singh. Mr. Singh, please.
Very much. Can you switch this off and I'll just stand out here. Thank you very, very much. And I mean this very sincerely. I'm sure you go to a lot of events and a lot of people thank you. It's a very big day for us as an organization, as a team. And we are really grateful. We're very, very sincerely grateful for the time that you made for us to listen to our story, to listen to our plans, to listen to what's got us here. And I know that Gautam, Sanjeev, and I are very keen to take your questions at the end of it. So with that preamble, I'm going to take just about 10 minutes, walk you through a few slides. And I'm not very good with slides, so I'll do more of a storytelling around where we are, around what our results this morning, the ones that we called out, what they were. We'll talk a little bit about what our journey over the last 30 odd years has been like. And we'll leave you with a few thoughts around what makes us different. An IT services firm, an Indian IT services firm, you'll see a plethora of them across the organization, across the world, sorry, not the organization. We'll talk about 5 things that have made us different, 5 things that we think will drive our growth. So let me quickly start off with just numbers. I suspect you've seen these numbers, and I'll do a very quick recap around the quarter that ended. And the quarter results came out earlier this morning, as you know. We talked earlier about the fact that we crossed the $1 billion milestone. We crossed it by roughly about $2 odd million. It was a very strong growth quarter for the firm at a time when most other organizations across our industry have been struggling. We've grown 5% sequentially over last quarter in US dollar terms, 4.7% in CC terms, and obviously a lot more, 5.6% in Indian rupee terms. The important piece here isn't the number. I'm sure you have the number. The important piece here was the fact that the growth was broad-based. The macros are uncertain, there's no denying it, right? Demand is increasingly under pressure, and the best way that we can think of from an execution point of view, an organizational point of view, is making sure that we're not relying on a particular set of clients, a particular industry, a particular technology service line, or a particular geo. So all the 3 core verticals grew, all geos grew, all service lines grew, all client size cohorts grew. That was the one piece that I want to leave you with. You've seen the other numbers. Even in a quarter like this, we closed 2 large deals, and even in a quarter like this, one of those deals came from banking. The other interesting thing, not on this chart that we called out today, is we are already into Q1 of fiscal year 24. A month is already over, so we have reasonable line of sight to how the quarter will pan out. And we expect, in the case of Coforge, the deal velocity to continue straight out into Q1 over Q4. The overall year numbers, we've grown 22.4% over last year in constant currency terms. The performance this year follows a 38% growth last year in FY23 over FY22. And today we offered a guidance for next year growth, what you see in red out there, of 13 to 16% CC. Looking at our track record, every year we offer a guidance at the beginning of the year. Around Q2, Q3, we've always revised it, and we've always revised it upwards. And we normally end the year north of the revised upward guidance. The intent this year also is to make sure that A, we secure the numbers we're offering. And these numbers are somewhat north of what most of our peers are offering, and then we try to exceed those. Next slide, very quickly, is a quick recap in terms of our journey, particularly over the last 6 odd years, and what's been different about the journey. Coforge was known, and you would know this, as NIIT Technologies. Around 6 years back, we had a leadership change. It wasn't a partial leadership change, it wasn't a little bit of a leadership change. Everyone, the CEO, which is me, all of my 14 directs were changed. And we took a very conscious call that we would hire leaders, 2 of whom are going to follow me today, from tier 1 IT services organizations who would be based in the markets that they were leading, not based in India, and who were comfortable with the concept of not just scaling up, but scaling up to serious numbers. People who believed, people who did not just talk about the fact that we will grow, people who thought that $1 billion was achievable, 2 billion was achievable, 5 billion is achievable, and 10 billion is achievable. That was the first change that we did. The second change, which flows from the first change around leadership, was a change in the execution, the operational culture of the organization. The culture, as we like to call it, is a very can-do culture. We do not plan, assuming that whatever was the status quo around the planning exercise time is going to hold for the rest of the year. An axiom around planning that all of us understand is, when we do plan under a certain macro environment, things will change, and in all probability change drastically in an area like tech services. So we're not the kind of team, we're not the kind of firm, we talk about numbers, that believes in coming back with excuses, cap in hand at the end of the year around, hey listen, A, B and C did not happen as predicted, hence the numbers didn't happen. We met our numbers, not just revenue, not just margins, and I'll show you a slide around valuation and revenue to that effect. The third thing that we did, which we like to think helped us, is we changed our strategy, we made it very simple. We walked away from almost every industry we were working in. We said we were then 6 years back a very small 400 million organization. We said we can't stand up there, wave a flag like Accenture and say we will do digital transformation for you, because we get swatted away. We said we will only focus on financial services and travel. And we also recognize that financial services is a very big space. So we said in financial services, we will focus only on asset and wealth management. In travel, we will focus only on airlines and airports. But each of these areas, we will come in with SMEs, we will create partnerships at the intersection of these very narrow segments and technology, and hence drive growth. Anecdotally, the way we've sold insurance, for instance, is when we walk into a PNC insurance client, we walk in and say, hey, listen, we're not Accenture, we don't have their size. But the one thing that we can tell you is that when it comes to PNC insurance, we know this space as well as any other player on the planet. And the best example of that, forget PowerPoints, forget stories, is if you go to the London Lloyd's reinsurance market, 1/3 of that market operates off our platform, not our services, our platform called AdvantageGo. So we believed in operating across very narrow slivers, knowing the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 process, and being able to deliver transformation. The one thing that Anuradha, our CMO and I have always talked about, our marketing spend, this is possibly the first time we're ever doing an event like this in the last 6 years, have always been very low. Our growth has come on the back of execution. Our growth has come on the back of what we've done. And finally, the last thing that we did was we completely recreated the tech stack. 6 years back, a $400 million IT services organization, we had infrastructure, we had BPO, we had ADM, very broad-based, very broad brush. Today we have 16 service lines that did not exist, Salesforce, data, integration, are likely to become $100 million service lines by the end of next year. So that was changed 6 years back. What's happened post that is the focus around financial services, travel, even within these two industries, specific subsegments, helped us drive differentiation. Differentiation in turn created the sustainable growth that we saw. The second thing that we did, and I talked about, is we are a services firm. We do not intend to be a product or a platform firm, but we have created our own platforms in financial services and in travel. And the reason for that is not because the revenue from those platforms is important. The reason for that is when we walk into an airline to sell a services contract, We walk in there and say, hey, listen, we can walk in like any other player and say, we'll do transformation for you. But you're not likely to trust us too much. We walk in and say, listen, we know the airline industry so well. We are able to apply technology to solutions so well that we have our own product platform, Mona Lisa, which is one of the top 5 revenue accounting platforms for airlines across the world. So the second thing that's helped us build credibility is platforms, not revenue, credibility, and that credibility has helped us drive services. The third thing that's worked for us again, and I think we culturally believe it, is do fewer things but do them well. Our partnerships, when you go to our website, you will not see 250 partners, limited number of partners. But when I say deep partnerships, the ultimate translation of that is how much revenue do you generate working together. With Duck Creek, we are the second largest global SI for them. With Pega, we have the world's largest number of Pega certified architects on this plan. With Salesforce, when it comes to their integration unit, which is MuleSoft, we are one of the top 4 global SIs when it comes to the number of SMEs that we have. So again, focus only on specific subsegments. Focus on a limited number of partnerships, but executing against those plans. And finally, the fourth piece, which has worked for us. Today we have 61 Forbes Global 1000 plus clients. The intent, and I was having conversations earlier, is we believe we can go from $1 billion to $2 billion. Not that we're going to do it, but we can go from $1 billion to $2 billion without adding a single more client. The clients we already have can get us from 1 to 4 if we do a good job around execution, if we do a good job around account management. Finally, 2021-23, this date is going to be important for all of us at Coforge. 27th of April, we did cross $1 billion mark. We've already carved out, soft carved out, public sector outside India as a vertical, the fourth vertical for the organization. The fifth that we're working on right now is healthcare, using the automation product. We acquired an entity, SLK Global, to build up our BPO business. That business is approaching about $100 million. And we'll talk a little bit more about our culture. We'll talk a little bit more, not just about awards like Great Place to Work. Most firms can get it. More about the fact, how is it that for 6 years, with so much of change, with the kind of growth that we've seen, our employee attrition across the industry has been the lowest of any IT services firm on this planet. This is a metric I want to talk about. We'll talk more about 14% attrition rate. At the peak of the pandemic, our attrition rate was about 10% lower. We'll talk more about what's got us here. The same thing that's allowed us, a firm our size, the average tenure that we have with our top 10 clients is more than 14 years. So we've been able to retain partners, we've been able to retain employees, we've been able to retain customers, and whatever is our interpretation of the secret sauce is what we can talk about. We did something interesting today, which we called out in our press release. We've crossed $1 billion. Sanjeev, Gautam, etc., starting tomorrow, will make sure that the 21,000 plus employees that we have, everyone gets an iPad. Obviously, there's a lot of questions today around margins. Why have margins gone down? It's a one-time cost, but we think it's worth it. 5 things, and then I stop after these. The 5 things that we think have made our story atypical. This isn't a story around an IT services firm that's $1 billion. There are lots of those stories around. It isn't a firm, it's not a story around massive growth registered, because there are some stories on that front also. Our story is atypical because our growth has been driven by change, and yet, unlike a lot of firms which have seen a lot of change and growth has been elusive in some cases, they've had significant attrition. Our attrition numbers are headed the other way. We've retained our employees like very few firms have. The second thing that set us apart is what I talked about earlier. We are a tech services firm, but we don't go and talk about transformation in generic terms. We transform in specific areas. We walk in with partnerships, we walk in with our own platforms, we walk in with architects, we walk in with SMEs to make this real. The third thing is no surprise execution. I'll talk about it. You'll see a slide, talks about operating metrics. We don't miss projections. We don't go cap in hand at the end of the year and say, hey, listen, We thought we'd grow 22%, but by the way, let me tell you the story around why we didn't do it. That's not who we are. That's not what we want to be. Finally, the fourth piece, culture. I talked about this earlier. Client relationships are sticky. At a time like this, when most firms talk about, oh, there's going to be vendor consolidation, oh, you may or may not lose out, we don't see that happening. We haven't seen that happen. Client relationships, we live in the trenches with them and we deliver. Partnerships with platform players, I talked about Pega, I talked about Duck Creek. When we renamed our firm Coforge, I did not make the announcement. The CEO of our partner firm, Duck Creek, he made the announcement on our behalf. And then the other piece that's somewhat atypical about our culture is we have never done an acquisition that has failed. Not too many organizations can say. 6 years back, we acquired a small $17 million Pega shop. It's a $125 million business for us. 3 years back, we acquired a $22 million MuleSoft shop. It's a $65 million Salesforce business for us. So everyone talks about culture, everyone talks about strategy, everyone talks about transformation. We've normally focused on making sure we have data to back it up. And the fifth thing that set us apart, I talked about it, we'll have a small AV around our insurance platform, has been our ability as a services firm to not just do work on requirements that somebody gives us and put people there. We know the space well enough to create our own functional specs, translate that into our own tech specs, parse the work out, create platforms, keep refreshing them. And everything that is theory around, we will cloud enable, we will digitally transform is something that we do on those platforms. So let's quickly talk through these five, and then I'm going to fade out and the other presenters will come. Robust growth, these are growth numbers. Last 6 years, that's what our revenue trajectory is. We called this out earlier. We do not expect our growth to be at the same levels. It has to accelerate between $1 billion to $2 billion. We don't want to be taking 5 years to get from $1 billion to $2 billion. And yet, and we talk about it, incredible change. The entire cohort of 15 leaders 6 years back was changed. Growth followed. More importantly, employee retention continues to be the highest, one of the highest, but the actual number is the highest across the industry. A lot of it is also because of what everyone calls culture, we internally call the lived experience of our employees. People don't stay with us because we pay them more. We pay them more or less on par with the others. But our benefits, we like to think, are superior to just about any other, at least India-based IT services firm. We do not do the standard piece around moving people on-site and not giving them a matching 401k. We do not do pieces around changing the kind of bus with the air conditioning that you have. When we were a $400 million organization, we invested $75 million to build what is arguably the finest technology services campus in all of North India. We wanted to do this meeting in the Greater Noida campus. I was told you will not come all the way there, which is why we're doing it in this hotel. But after this event, we're all heading out here, Sanjeev, Gautam and I. It's a 25-acre campus. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but you should, and we'd love to host you there. Our own auditorium, our own amphitheater, our own guest house. Our employees can stay there 24/7, fully catered, everything from housekeeping to everything else. It's its own fantastic gymnasium, swimming pool, a fantastic cricket field, incredible cricket field. If you ever want to play cricket, please visit us. But it's the benefits that have enabled us, and the benefits only come when you actually put money into it. You will find very few slogans, very little sloganeering around people, you are our best asset. People know who's being honest about it, who's actually putting their money where their mouth is, and I think that's helped for us. COVID is a good example. When the second wave happened in Delhi, and I think all of us remember it. I wasn't in Delhi, I was in the US. What we did was this is our Noida campus, we closed the office. We figured out a way of setting up 18 ICU beds. We found our own doctors, we found our own nurses. Oxygen was not in supply. We figured out ways. I think the admin team was creative enough to figure out how to get oxygen canisters. And the one promise we made to our employees was that if any one of our employees or any of their family members went down with COVID, we would send a car, ambulances were not available, to get them to this place and make sure that they did not go down because of the shortage that we saw. So, the first and the second point is, it's not just a growth story. It's not just a change story. It's a very atypical story around how you can have a lot of change which drives growth and yet you retain. Next. This is a slide which talks about what I said, process expertise and technology expertise. We don't talk in horizontal terms only. Oh, we're going to come in and we will drive integration. Oh, by the way, we're going to come in and we will drive transformation. Oh, by the way, we'll do some strategic A, B, or C. We walk in and we come in with more of a use case based approach. For instance, travel as an industry, right? If you go to Germany today, if you go to any German railway platform, Deutsche Bahn is the German railway network. Today in Germany, a visually impaired passenger, if he or she can board a train without anyone physically assisting them, because we work with the German government, with Deutsche Bahn, to create an app which is Apple native. It's on the Google App Store, where if a visually impaired passenger hears a train coming, all he or she needs to do is open the app, point it at the platform, using visual analytics and audio clues, the app itself directs them into the train. Now, it's not a very fascinating, fantastic, industrial strength use case. Those kind of use cases are more like what we will show as part of the AV around insurance. But it's a reflection of the approach. The approach is more use case driven, solution based. It's not let's add in bodies at bulk. Let's make sure margins go up. We like to think that we know these spaces, and we like to think that we can actually make it real. So that's the second thing that makes us atypical. The third thing I talked about, no surprise execution. No surprise execution, you know all of this. No surprise execution has resulted in this. We're not just $1 billion organization. There are very few stories in corporate India where valuation of a firm has gone up to the extent that it had. It's obviously somewhere around this to this was about a 15 to 16-fold valuation increase that happened because of no surprise execution. And finally, I talked about this earlier. The intent is not to build something that is going to stay for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. The campus we have, we think is going to stay for the next 50 years when you visit it. The intent is to build relationships with employees, with clients, with partners, with analysts, with advisors that are sustained. Each of these is, to our mind, a fantastic reference of that. Very few billion-dollar IT services firms have a 92% repeat business. That's the kind of repeat business that TCS has, not a $1 billion only IT services firm. It's also a reflection of the confidence that our clients have in us. And finally, we're a firm with a record of creating industry-grade platforms. I talked about it. We walk in, we lead a services conversation by pointing to platforms we have built to say, hey, listen, we are so good that we're not going to stand here and create PowerPoints. We'll actually show you demos of platforms that we built, which are not references, they are actually being sold. People are paying money to use them. This is what I'm going to play now. We're going to play this now, Anuradha, right? Yes. So what we'll play now is an audio visual of our platform called Mona Lisa. 1/3 of the London Lloyd's insurance market works of our platform. We don't do services here. This is subscription or license based. 1/3 of the market, if you go to central London, the Lloyd's Tower, the largest specialty insurance exchange in the world, it's powered off this. If you go to any major airport in Asia, you go to Changi in Singapore, if you go to the Hong Kong airport, if you go to the Beijing airport in China, the entire cargo of the airport operations is managed through a product that we've created for a Singapore Airlines joint venture. It's called COSYS. So what you see here is going to be one flavor on the insurance side, and we'll quickly roll with it.
Underwriting workbench to policy, creating a seamless experience for the underwriter, allowing scale and flexibility and offering a base to truly transform your underwriting effectiveness. Commercial insurers who write across multiple channels in international markets need a scalable and transferable underwriting tool. AdvantageGo Underwriting delivers the flexibility to cater to multiple ways of trading, all through a single multi-product, multi-language, multi-currency platform, while facilitating a consistent and standardized process across the business. Our cloud-deployed platform enables manual and automated underwriting through multiple interaction channels, face-to-face, email, market-placing platforms, as well as providing connected capabilities for agency, broker systems, and software houses. AdvantageGo Underwriting wraps around and seamlessly interfaces with core systems and trusted third-party data services in real time, enabling you to leverage existing, already licensed IT investments with no need to rip and replace. Our platform allows you to focus on returning value early on and building from there with additional products, insights, and efficiency. Designed to be configured and maintained by clients independently, products, screens, fields, processes, business rules, and workflow can all be tailored cost-effectively and accelerate deployment for trading in different markets. Underwriting allows real-time adjustments to risk appetites and enables underwriters to develop new and improve existing insurance products. Benefit from our data ingestion tool that seamlessly ingests emails, attachments, and images directly to your underwriting workspace in real time and enables cost-effective triage of underwriting submissions and the identification of missing data. Easily adhere to regulatory compliance and changes made by self-service of business rules, mandatory data requirements, and workflow to ensure you're governing the underwriting process in accordance with Ombudsman, country, and state-specific requirements. Amplify the customer experience and improve relationship management with enterprise-wide work management, driven by a comprehensive 360-degree view of customers and partners to enable quicker and proactive process turnaround. With AdvantageGo Underwriting, bring new data and capabilities into the ecosystem and adjust underwriting rules and appetite.
And say, hey, listen, we have a data services horizontal. We don't walk in there and say, oh, you've got an underwriting issue, we're going to solve for it. We walk in there and say, we have a platform. Underwriting is just one of the things it does end to end. And there's a lot of inherent credibility that that approach brings. I think I'll skip the slide. Skip a slide. Let me just pause there, coalesce what I said, and then go on to the last slide right now. I try to give you a sense of our quarterly numbers. And what I want to underline is not the numbers. What I want to underline, and I did that earlier today in the investor call, is the broad-based nature of growth. We are not going to have an easy year as an industry in fiscal year 24. We believe any player, including us, if you just make a few bets, you cannot necessarily count on them to get you anywhere because the market, the macros are clearly highly uncertain right now. What gives us a lot of comfort is broad-based growth. It's not BFS only driving it, insurance only driving it, travel only driving it. It's not a geo only driving it. It's not a client-size corporate driving it. The second thing that we wanted to call out, and I did share with you, are the 5 things that make us atypical. This is the last slide that I'm going to leave you with. This is our approach to getting from $1 billion to $2 billion, and hopefully not in 5 years, but much earlier. And hopefully we get here much earlier as a group to celebrate that as well. The first thing for us is important. We're not trying to do things here which are absolutely new to the firm because they may or may not happen. For us, scaling up existing clients, we believe by itself is a strong enough lever to get us to 2. If nothing else plays out, just getting key account management in our context, 61 folks, 1,000 clients is more than enough. The second thing is what we talked about, government, healthcare. Within all of this, what you see are going to be our 2 preferred customer, the verticals that we start with. The third is what we've done with the Pega, what we've done with a Salesforce, what we've done with the Duck Creek, is what we are increasingly doing with the ServiceNow, is what we're increasingly doing with an AWS, is what we are increasingly doing with the GCP. That should, and I suspect will be the third lever. And the fourth piece, we talk about it. We have done very small acquisitions till recently, but each one of them has succeeded. Going from $1 billion to $2 billion over the next few years, we are going to be far more aggressive when it comes to acquisitions because I think at least we believe We've now created a playbook. It's not a theoretical playbook. We've proved more than anyone else to ourselves that we can do acquisitions, we can retain the leaders who come, we can grow the business. So that's going to be the fourth leader. Really, please.
Our journey started in 1992 and was founded on a bedrock of values. We followed a trajectory of ambition, determination, hope, and an employee-first and quality-driven culture. New era of growth. The leadership center of gravity moved to the markets. Growth became the overriding imperative, with a re-articulated vision and mission. A new growth playbook was forged, with a focus on only 3 industries and investments in emerging technologies. A plan to get $1 billion by financial year 2024 was drawn up. We faced unprecedented business challenges unique to the firm, but remained committed to our people and our clients. A new brand in the IT services world was launched. We continued to forge ahead. We won consistently, and we won big. And we knew there was no looking back. Our client satisfaction and employee satisfaction scores continued to grow, and the world started paying attention. We reinvented ourselves for the future. Our hard work has paid off in ways that make us hold our head even higher. We continue to engage with emerging technologies. We enjoy one of the lowest attrition rates in the industry. Our relative performance has been strong. We've lived up to our goal of driving robust, sustained, and profitable growth and exceeded the target we set for ourselves. The numbers add up. 31 years, 1 billion seconds. We made every second count.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sudhir Singh, for sharing these invaluable insights with us. These results are a true testament to Coforge's growth success story. Thank you. And yes, time now for the big one. And for that, once again, let me invite here on stage Mr. Sudhir Singh, CEO and Executive Director of Coforge. Mr. Singh, please join us here. And let's have a round of applause as I call on the senior leadership team from Coforge for the very special moment. I invite Mr. Gautam Samantha, President Coforge. Mr. Samantha, greetings, welcome, and the applause must continue as we call on Mr. Sanjeev Prasad, Global Leader, Cloud and Digital Coforge. Mr. Prasad, greetings, welcome, and I invite on Anuradha Sehgal, our Chief Marketing Officer, Coforge. And here we have our wonderful senior leadership team as they're here for the big moment of unveiling of 1 billion icon and the photo op. The applause must continue, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Team Coforge for achieving the 1 billion revenue milestone. Hey, kudos, congratulations. I guess there must be an applause. A thunderous one, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Thank you.
Good afternoon. What a day, right? I mean, really a landmark day in the journey. We reaching a billion where we started from, and I've been there maybe one of the longest out of the leadership team in this journey. Being a part of that, it's been really exhilarating, every moment of it, right? So in the next 10 minutes or so, I'll try to give you a little bit of a context, from the business lens, because, being there in the market, working with the clients day in and day out, how they look at it, or what we are trying to make them kind of, look at us in which lens. So looking at taking the customer lens, how we are transforming at the intersect, and of course Sanjeev is going to talk about more from the capability lens, right? How we are leveraging those technologies to build a solution. So couple of slides, but it's just to kind of anchor the story. Firstly, I think Sudhir did mention that it's a very broad-based growth, and I'm going to talk overall. I mean, of course, I'll take examples, a little bit from financial services, which has shown a tremendous growth in the last couple of years. But it is across verticals, it is across geos, it is across top accounts, and so it's a very broad-based growth what we have seen. And while the growth has happened, even for example, even in the top accounts, right? While all the top accounts have grown, but still our overall concentration level for the top accounts have gone down. So consistently, I think we are kind of pushing for the broad-based growth. So that's point number one. That's past, that's history, right? We have already gone there. But as we look in the future, I think the good thing that we are looking at is, very healthy pipeline. If you look at the order executable, I mean, so we did put up the value up there, right? I mean, it's a very healthy order executable, what we are starting with, the new year with. Very healthy pipeline of large deals also. Even within the geos, in the, the newer geos like the ANZ and the Middle East, where we still see a lot of untapped, potential. With the global vertical journey, I mean, with the new restructuring and focus, we see good amount of growth potential coming out of these two markets as well, which we were present there, but we see that's accelerating the growth. But the growth has not come at compromising the customer satisfaction. As you know, the customer satisfaction is the core. If you are not delivering value to the client, it will be extremely difficult to keep getting business there. So the best-in-class NPS, it shows that we continue to deliver value. And just to give you an example again, I mean, in the BFS, for example, last year we showed almost a 50% growth, but the NPS has stuck. So we are not growing, compromising the customer satisfaction there. We continue to deliver the value. So that's the point number 3. And if we take a view of the way we engage, our primary engagement with the customers, and that's the way we kind of differentiate, is it's late in the course transformation and the modernization. That's how we started, when we kind of pivoted ourselves into fewer domains and fewer clients. As we talked about, even in the current clients, if we continue our journey, I mean, we can go to 1 billion. And why we feel that way? Because it is all led through core transformation. And just to give you an example, I mean, a couple of examples maybe. One of our leading travel clients, one of the largest airlines in Europe, I mean, we recently won the top 10 transformation hour, right? So what we did is we developed a digital queuing solution, which is basically to handle if there is a disruption happening if somebody is traveling, correct? So how you can kind of manage that and how they can be assisted through a digital solution, right? So things like that, and the expectation is, more and more such transformation need will come, and we are kind of working closely with the clients because of our understanding and the focus in the domain to work with them in this transformation program. One of the largest banks in Europe, actually globally they are also one of the top banks. We are their primary transformation partner for their payment transformation journey, right? Again, there are part of it which are regulatory and compliance related, so these are almost non-discretionary, and we are the primary partner working with them on a multi-year transformation program. We are the primary partner for their automation journey using low-code, no-code. Again, you know, I mean, with the headwind, there is huge focus on cost takeout. Automation is the way to go. We being the primary partner with them, it gives us the positioning there to continue with the growth journey. So that's the other part where where we've been able to kind of go up in terms of the value chain with the customer. Now, our view on the technology spending, looking through the transformation lens, is there are going to be headwinds there, as we all know. But the transformation journey, some of these, either this is discretionary, non-discretionary, or it is coming from their cost takeout agenda. So those agendas are not going to go anywhere. While there is going to be pressure on mostly what we call in the banking terminology in the run the bank area, right, where they need to reduce their day-to-day operating costs. But there again, that brings us the opportunity to do a lot more automation, right? So that's the view. It's going to be kind of little patchy, but we see that the client through the discussion. I mean, we are interacting with the clients on a day in and day out basis. But that's the view we are getting, that the transformation journey will continue. They will evaluate more. They will have a lot more rigorous this thing behind it, that what's the business value they are getting. But that's the position we see as we look at the market. Now, why we feel confident about the growth, right? I mean, what are the strategy that has worked for us and how we are going to continue kind of building on that, right? One is the portfolio diversification, which we talked about, and here I want to take the BFS example, right? Sudhir mentioned when we started the BFS journey, very hyper focus on asset and wealth, and that's how we started, right? I mean, it used to be almost 80% of the BFS business, right? But then, without compromising there, we continued growing there, but we realized if we have to become a material player in the BFS, we cannot just remain as just a hyper focus on asset and wealth. So we first went after in the retail and commercial banking area, finding out niches where there was a gap. So we always try to find out an area where there is a gap. So we found out there are specific areas, namely in the financial crime space, namely in the data engineering space, and started building our capability there and really attacked that. So step by step, we first went after the retail and commercial, and then we went after another niche segment, which is in the central banking space. We work with now two of the largest central banks in the world, right? We are actually their core and data and digital partner. And lastly, we are going after specific fintech area, right? So that gradually we are kind of, but interestingly, none of the sub-verticals are degrown. They continue their growth momentum, but we keep adding to this in a systematic manner and then building the capability on the top of that. So that's...
Firstly, what a great day. As Sudhir mentioned, as Gautam mentioned, it's brilliant to be here, right? To be part of a company which has got to $1 billion. I mean, I've been 30 years in the industry, and just to be part of this is actually amazing. Now, what I'm going to do today is, you've heard from Sudhir, right, about how do we create value for our customers, how do we have long relationships, what Gautam mentioned. I just want to tell you about what are the practices we are building. And the best way to tell about our practices is to tell you the stories, right? What have we really done for our customers? How do we actually help them transform? Why do they stay with us? Why do they like us? Why do they spend 25 years with us? Think about it. I mean, by the way, I've been an ex-CIO, and I know that what I want from my partners. And this is something what we've been doing for the ages. So let me quickly start by talking about our capabilities and what we do, and then just take you through a journey of case studies, and then talk about what are the investments we are making for the future. And just look at it from this angle, right? What do? We really truly try to create value. I mean, today is a time of deep insights, right? It's about actual experiences, because if you want to keep customers, you need to give them great user experiences in the products and services you provide, whether it's mobile app, whether it's the portal which you develop, whatever you do for them. How do you make them efficient? Digitalizing processes, modernizing systems. You know, I've been here 30 years in the industry. I can tell you, build all kinds of archaic systems. And today, the new world, cloud-based, native cloud systems have to be developed. And that's what we help our clients with. Connecting enterprises. Gone are the days when you had one monolithic behemoth of an ERP. Today, you have disaggregated platforms. And everybody's buying best of breed. How do you integrate them? That is connecting the enterprise. Not only that, the channels of consumption have changed, right? It's mobile. It's all kinds of devices. How do you actually integrate that? All of those pieces. And more importantly, every application today is in the form of a product. So these gave some great examples, and I will talk about some of them as we go along. And actually supporting this is our service lines, right? Data and analytics. By the way, we actually start with modeling, because insight is about modeling. Data engineering backs it up. And you will see our leaders, that's how we actually come and support our clients. And that's why they see value in what we do. Process automation, Suresh spoke about our Pega journey, and I'll talk about that, right? Great capability in that. Infrastructure is still there, we need to do it, right? Like Gautam mentioned, that's the mundane part of it. And we actually help drive efficiency for our clients. We make the operation much more resilient, and I'll talk about the products and platforms we've developed for that. Digital services, right? From a marketing commerce, to product engineering, to integration, to digitalizing, to automation. All of what we do, and I will share that, some of the stories. Salesforce is a great example. We've been rated as the summit partner for them as of yesterday, and that's a big story for us, and MuleSoft anyway has been a big story for us. With SLK now acquisition, our business process solutions, remember, transformation happens at the intersection of process and technology, and that's what enables us to do that. AI, I mean, we are focusing in on it. I will talk about what we're doing with ChatGPT and others, and you'll see some of the cases we're actually building with it. Cloud is a given. Our big focus is on cybersecurity services, and I will talk about that. Okay? And just as I said, I'm going to take some examples to talk about the journeys we've been on. Let me see this. Okay, this is as we came out of pandemic, right? The airlines, if you know, were in bad shape. But guess what? They all realized that today to reach their customers, they have to digitalize. The mobile app, the consumption, how do you buy direct to airline buying, right? They needed to connect to their various partners so that they could actually generate auxiliary revenue. We built this entire platform for them. We created a 300-man ODC for them, right, where we are developing all these applications. Not only that, when they're launching new products like premium economy, right, we all travel premium economy, right, we all do that. Believe me, that offering had to be created. Building the platform to support it is something what we do. If you go to the next one, Sudhir mentioned this. I mean, to me, this is mission critical. I can tell you as an ex-CIO, I mean, if this doesn't work, right, airlines flights don't take off, right? Because all the cargo manifest goes to the various airlines. Bespoke custom development, cloud-based, multi-tenanted model, messaging, running at least 16 to 18, if I remember the numbers, airports globally. Right from China to Brazil, to Singapore, to India, to Hong Kong, to Riyadh. I can tell you this platform supports all of that. It's multi-tenanted, cloud-based, new modernization, right? This is a 20-year-old customer of ours. Just to the point, Sudhir mentioned that we really help our customers transform. Nobody stays with a partner if we are not helping them transform. And this is the journey we've taken them on. Again, I think as Gautam mentioned, broad-based, right? We are not just about travel, we are not just about banking, we are about insurance, we are about healthcare, we are about other areas which we actually operate in. And here as well, we've actually used ServiceNow as a platform, truly impacting the business, right? Direct buying without connect in the middle, right? I mean, that's what you're hearing. I mean, you hear about all the loans processes which is happening in India today, 2-minute loan, 3-minute loan. Guess what? We can do the same thing in insurance, direct pass-through. They're the kind of transformation which are actually driving for our customers. The largest coffee chain, you can take a guess which one it is. I don't want to take names here. But you can imagine when you go to actually one of the largest coffee chains in the world, you buy from multiple channels, right? You consume different. Integration has to happen globally. Integration is a big issue, as I mentioned to you, because everything is changing in the world. People are building specialized pieces of software, consumptions separately. And all of this runs on the platform which we have developed and supplied them, right? Complete middleware. This is the MuleSoft story which Sudhir was mentioning. This is a great journey for us. We've been one of the biggest partners for them for a long period of time. I love these stories, by the way. The reason I love them is the kind of impact we create. One of the ministers in Australia, actually he called this better than sliced bread. That's the way he defined this. And the reason is because, if you want to build a building, roads, plant trees, any infrastructure, any environment related stuff, it goes through this system, which has been developed by us. It's based on Pega, based on our IDP, our Quasar platform, which extracts data, and for every citizen, for every organization in that state. And it is the largest state from a business perspective in Australia. So we do this kind of work. You can imagine somebody to trust. You took a look at the cargo example, you look at the AdvantageGo example, what Sudhir mentioned, you look at this example, it tells you the kind of services we deliver for our clients. Truly something mission critical, right? So I think that's the story we've got. This is the largest rail company in Europe. Don't need to take names, I'm sure you know what it is. We took them to the cloud completely. Totally to the cloud. They run on the cloud. I mean, that's the story we are on. So, this is the one Gautam spoke about, right? And this is the story for the data, the cloud, right? And the analytics part of it. And what is the actual benefit we have driven for them from the data integration, from creating value, from creating insights, and creating the data lake and all on the cloud. So I think you just got a brief. I quickly ran through all the case studies, right? I just wanted to tell you that, like Sudhir mentioned, we have got a platform like AdvantageGo, we've got Mona Lisa, but we continue to invest in our own IPs and products, which we actually utilize in actually driving efficiency for our clients. So whether it's Broker 360 or the Salesforce platform we built, AIOps platform, which we call Helios. Remember one thing, today, as Gautam mentioned, infrastructure is becoming mundane, but remember it still has to run every day, 100% of the time, 99.999% efficiencies. How do you make sure it runs at that level? How do you make sure nothing goes wrong? How do you make sure that there's resilience? How do you proactively in solving problems? That's what this does. We actually integrate all the platforms. We have got monitoring tools which actually come and gives us insights as to really where the problem may be and proactively solve for it. There are 46 customers of ours actually who run on this. So this, you can imagine, is the kind of value which we create. As a CIO, ex-CIO, I can tell you, this is something I would love. And I don't have to spend a whole lot of buco loads of money on this. So this is a great story. Our Quasar platform, this is a data extraction tool from any kind of documents, etc. It can be used in anything from financial spreading to accounts processing to any other kind of, whether it's claims processing. And the best part of this engine is AI-led. So actually the learning engines, you must have heard, it takes months and months for some engines to learn and then actually give you the right kind of 90%, 95% accuracy. This gets it in nearly 3 to 4 weeks' time. This is what we've been able to do because of the AI and machine learning we've embedded in it. We're focusing on blockchain. We have a great solution, couple of solutions which we're offering to our clients. And the last one is interesting today because this is what's happening in the world, right? When we are traveling across airports or any spaces, how do you give directions, etc.? So we are actually building these solutions for airports, for other areas where you can actually utilize it. These are all the platforms we are developing. I just wanted to share some of them because they're unique. There are a whole bunch of them actually in the background which we do. We have a design lab. We continuously start experimenting, thinking about what to do and coming up with solutions. Now the next big ones, right? I mean, I think everybody is talking about. I think as an IT services company, as a company which actually has to think about creating value for our customers, we have to continuously evolve, continuously think about what's coming next. And actually how do we embed it as part of a solution? We continuously invest. Whether it's Metaverse, where we've already been rated by HFS as one of the leading providers, whether it's blockchain, and now with generative AI. Anyway, our Quasar product actually uses generative AI, AIOps, which is OpenAI from Microsoft, and we are working with them to actually embed this into our offerings. So we are obviously embracing all the new technology as they come to find solutions for our clients. That's really what I have. Just to summarize, we continuously think about how do we create value for our customers at the intersection of domain as well as technology and as technologies emerge. And the best stories are the use cases by which I can tell you that. I hope that helped you. Thank you so much.
Chief Marketing Officer Coforge to share her perspective on the marketing campaigns for Coforge on the 1 billion milestone. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome Anuradha Sehgal. Miss Anuradha, please.
So really, I think, put in. The brand, I think our work speaks for itself, and our biggest endeavor towards brand building is really the work that we've done. We are not a very visible, very vocal brand, and we've let our work speak for ourselves. And that has been the biggest effort in brand building. But last year, what we did do is that we reinvented our brand for the future. So Coforge, we reinvented ourselves. A small change does make a big difference, and I think we look sharper, ready for the future. But we want to show up looking like we're ready for the future. We introduce, we are sharper, we are bolder as a brand as we step forward in our journey, 1 billion and now beyond. We revamped our website as well last year. This year, we will increase our brand saliency. And we do want people to take notice of us. We want the best talent. We want we want the best investors. We want people to see the work that we are doing, because we do want a larger number of people to join us in our journey as we go forward to the 2 billion mark. This is the campaign that you will see, those of us in Delhi. We will see this campaign unfold when you fly out of Delhi. When you land into Delhi, as you travel through Gurgaon, you will see some of these creatives. We earned the 3rd comma. We're very proud of this milestone. It's a collective achievement, and we are proud both of the milestone that we've achieved as well as the collective effort that's gone behind it. I'm also very pleased to inform you that we are also launching a project dedicated to the community. As a corporate citizen, we are very, very conscious of our responsibilities. We do want to make a difference not only to the businesses that we partner with, but to the community that we are a part of. And I'd like to share with you, I'm very proud to share with you a community that we'll be dedicating to this community. So can we have the AV, please?
Coforge is proud to announce the opening of a state-of-the-art public library in Sector 59, Noida. This stunning standalone building, spanning an impressive 12,000 square feet, is ideally situated near many educational institutions, schools, colleges, universities, corporates, and residential societies. This unique library is a first-of-its-kind initiative, as Coforge is the first corporate organization to step forward and provide the community with a public library that offers free access to high-quality resources. Driven by the need to serve the community, Coforge has planned this impeccable contribution to the city of Noida, with the belief that everyone deserves a safe and inclusive space. The library's design embodies a contemporary outlook, with a classy reception and welcoming shades of green. The reading areas are elegantly designed with a mix of structured tables and seats, comfortable sofas, loose seats, and niche seating, each with a unique style quotient. The children's section is a fantastic amalgamation of vivid colors and interactive elements designed to captivate children and stimulate their senses while enhancing their eye-hand coordination, gross motor, and creative skills. Safety measures have been taken into account during the section's design to provide a secure space for children. The library's multi-purpose hall is designed to conduct workshops, seminars, and brainstorming sessions while keeping the external noise at bay. The louvers provided can be opened to ensure sound reduction during workshops. Coforge's dedication to community service is exemplified by this outstanding example of a sustainable library that houses a repository of books across genres and notable authors. This knowledge hub promises to benefit the community, and Coforge is proud to provide such a service to all members of the public.
I would really take this opportunity to invite all of you. Please consider this as a personal invite to visit our campus. We have a beautiful green campus, in Greater Noida. 25 acres of lush greenery award winning. Please do visit us in the campus whenever you can. We'd be delighted to host you. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And thank you very much.
It's been a great journey for the financial year 2023. You witnessed our wonderful work and results for the Q4 as well. And yes, as it's indeed a big day for us, a big day that comes with years of hard work, which have been made possible with perfect execution. And we're going to be moving towards a very interesting interaction. Can we have the lights and everything on so that our friends from media who are there with us, we can have a wonderful conversation with them. And yes.
Hi. So if you could just, we'd like Sudhir, I'm sure Sudhir would like to answer the question. So we'd like to, if there are any questions related to technologies that, the case studies, anything that you want to hear. All right, Sanjeev. Sudhir is here.
So once again, Mrs. Sudhir, CEO and Executive Director of Coforge. So greetings, welcome on stage.
Could you please repeat that question? Thank you.
So there were two one-time expenses. The first one was what I talked about in our presentation itself. The first one is related to the $1 billion celebrations, primarily the cost of the iPads that every employee is going to get. There are going to be about 21,500 iPads which will start getting distributed starting tomorrow and will get fully distributed over the next 3 weeks. So the biggest chunk of the one-time is a one-time cost to mark the $1 billion mark, where we're offering the iPads as a token of our gratitude to every employee across the world. The second one-time impact is a provision. It's actually not a hard charge, which we've taken against the US listing. So far as you know, there are only 2 India-based IT services firms that are US listed. It's Infosys and Wipro. A year and a half back, we had declared our intent to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We've done our filing with the SEC, the F1 filing. We are keeping it refreshed, but this was the end of the year. We have provided for all the cost from an accounting prudence perspective in the quarter. So that's the second one-time cost. These are one-time costs. You're absolutely right. Revenue is done very well. These costs will not recur. And the margin should be exactly back to where it is next quarter onwards. Most welcome. For the questions here, government for us is government outside India, and the focus is on public sector across Europe and public sector across Australia. This is nearly a done deal in that our revenue from public sector outside India is already 8%, so it's already significant. We are leading into this area largely using our automation expertise, especially the low-code, no-code business. Right? We are not trying to get into new areas using a strategy that is different from what we've used in the past in the case of healthcare. So in every case, Sanjeev talked about it, Gautam talked about it, our ability to differentiate is based on knowing the processes and the industry very well. So in the case of healthcare, again, we've looked at the 3 different discrete spaces that are there, the payer space, the provider space. We've also looked at the technology areas that exist. Healthcare has a prime need for automation, right, across providers, across payers. So our intent in healthcare is going to be to get SMEs on board, healthcare SMEs, which is a process that is already done. We've had about 9 exceptional SMEs in the market for about 18 months now. The second stage is going to be what Sanjeev was talking about, create solutions, create proof points, and then start having conversations which are not sales conversations with clients, walking there with a pre-made solution and then tweak it to their requirements. So Zia, that's how we're going to be looking at it, public sector and healthcare.
The success we've had in the public sector space, examples I gave you about Australia, right? There's, of course, we've done some great amount of work in UK as well, and been hugely successful at that. So we truly believe we know how to execute fixed price bids, long-term complex projects. That's the capability which we have, and you know how difficult that is. And so to be able to leverage that and actually implement it is something which we truly value, is something we value ourselves and want to make sure that our customers experience that. We want to focus in on that work because it is not an easy thing for customers to do. We are actually working for another very large UK public sector, transforming them totally, and across banking, across insurance, they do a lot of different things. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, no, just to, and I know it was one question, but let me just give you a live example. When COVID happened in the UK, right, the UK was struggling. The UK government, especially what happened was the smaller stores, shops in UK, their business went down drastically. So the UK government came up with a plan to try to direct a lot of business towards the small stores. Most people were not comfortable going there. And they declared publicly that anybody shopping at a small store would be given a £10 coupon from the government. Now that's a good declaration to have. It's very difficult to put it in place. So you need a solution that is resilient and a solution that can be put in place very quickly. Out there, we worked, it was Pega, right? We worked on a low-code, no-code solution for the government of the UK and rolled it out, I don't know how, very quickly. Very, very quickly. So that's another live example of using automation, especially low-code, no-code technologies, that's actually been in place to create a solution, build credibility and drive.
For FY24, you have said adjusted EBITDA margin is supposed to be flat over FY23. Do you want to talk a bit about that? Like, why do you see it to be flat?
So we believe that our gross margin is going to go up 50 bips. It's going to be a tough year. We want to make sure that we continue investing in capabilities, solutions, and sales. We will not take that 50 bips increase in gross margin and let it flow down. We will continue to add people. The commentary everyone would have heard from us today is, we are not cancelling freshers, we are not stopping hiring. Our headcount in this quarter that closed, net headcount, I'm not talking gross, has gone up by 3.1%. So we believe that the additional gross profit that we are making, we will use that for more hiring, because a year that is tough is when you find very varying levels of performance from service providers. We think if all goes well, if our strategy plays out, this should be the year where we might possibly be able to outperform some of our immediate competitors and increase our volume. Hence the margin guidance.
And on the fresher intake, do you have an outlook figure for FY24?
We would expect to have slightly more than last year, about 1,500 to 2,000, somewhere between that.
There was one-off in this quarter. I would want to know, like, is there any plan, like, when you plan to list the EDR? Are you planning something? Is there any guidance on that? Another part on the related question related to the talent. What are the salary hikes you are planning for now next quarter? I think this quarter I think it will start coming up. What's the range you're planning and how you're looking at that? The third is on the offshore revenue part. How you're seeing those? Are we seeing some downfall on those sides going forward? Today it stands at 51%. So now how are you seeing on that part? Thank you.
Sure, Jatin, quick answers to ADR. ADR, what we called out is a secondary ADR. We've got everything done primed from a regulatory perspective, which is what normally takes 6 to 9 months for a US listing. So everything is primed, but we really will wait for the market to turn around before we go in. We are under no pressure to do an ADR, so we'll keep waiting. Every 4 months, refreshing an F1 does not really cost a material amount. We'll continue refreshing it till we think the market is back to near normalcy. One was around salary. Salary increments will be rolled out retrospectively from 1st of April of this year, like any other year, but the increments this year will be lower. They will be lower largely because the increments in the last 2 years have been outsized. At that point in time, the supply side was very, very constrained. So they will happen, but the increments will be lower this year compared to the last 2 years. And offshore revenues, we're at about 51%. We think a good number to aim for would be 54%, but we don't see ourselves galloping to 54%. We think it's going to be a graduated journey to 54%.
But is there some visual or some problem happening on those sides? Are you facing some headwinds over that?
No, if you look at us, last 10 quarters, I think every quarter offshore revenue has been going up. 10 quarters back, it was actually relatively very low at about 36%. It's come all the way to 51%. But the rate at which it went from 36 to 51 is likely to slow down. It's not going to degrow, it's going to decelerate.
What are the reasons
नमस्कार दोस्तों, अनुराधा हमारे साथ हैं। आज यहाँ पर कंपनी के बारे में बहुत सी बातें हुई हैं। मैम हिंदी दर्शकों के लिए कुछ हिंदी में बताना चाहेंगी ताकि जो है वो लोग भी समझ सकें। जी मैम जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
थैंक यू, नमस्ते सभी को। और आज हमारी कंपनी के लिए बहुत ही बड़ा दिन है। हम लोग $1 बिलियन रेवेन्यू हम लोगों ने अचीव किया आज, और वो भी पूरे 1 साल पहले। जो हमने कहा था कि हमारा टारगेट था कि हम FY24 में अचीव करेंगे, हमने पूरे 1 साल पहले ही अचीव कर दिया है। तो आज
ये बहुत बधाई आपको।
थैंक यू। और ये सारे जितने भी हमारे एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं, ये उनकी मेहनत है, एंड हम बहुत शुक्रगुजार हैं अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ का तो है ही, लेकिन साथ ही में हमारे क्लाइंट्स, हमारे इन्वेस्टर्स, जो भी हमारे साथ हमारे जो पार्टनर्स हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी पार्टनर्स, सबको श्रेय जाता है इसका, और हम सभी के साथ मिलके मनाना चाह रहे हैं।
तो जैसे मोदी जी डिजिटल इंडिया बनाने की मुहिम, और हमारा जो भारत है अभी जो 75वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहा है आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव का, जब 100वां अमृत महोत्सव काल मनाएंगे तो तब आपकी कंपनी किस मुकाम पे होगी और कैसा भारत आप दिखना चाहिए?
जी देखिए, हम एक IT सर्विसेज कंपनी हैं, और मेरे हिसाब से IT सर्विसेज ने एक बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले किया है इंडिया को पूरे विश्व में,
इंटायर वर्ल्ड में,
पूरे विश्व में हमारा नाम है इस इंडस्ट्री से। सो इस इंडस्ट्री का पार्ट होने के बतौर हम बहुत प्राउड फील करते हैं। और सब देशों में आपने देखा होगा आज बहुत हम बहुत बाहर की गवर्नमेंट्स के साथ भी हम काम करते हैं। तो एक जो IT इंडस्ट्री है, इंडिया की जो IT इंडस्ट्री और जो टैलेंट है, वी आर वेरी प्राउड कि हम इसको पूरे विश्व में लेके जा रहे हैं और हम इसका पार्ट हैं। तो इसके लिए तो हम सभी को बधाई हो।
और मैम जी, हमें अभी G20 की अध्यक्षता भी मिली है, कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
ये हम सबके लिए बहुत गर्व की बात है, और आई थिंक कि अब हमारा ये बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है हम सबके लिए, बहुत कारण है हम सबके लिए, बहुत सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए, बहुत खुशियाँ हैं हम सबके लिए। तो सबके लिए सेलिब्रेशन हो हमेशा, आई थिंक सबके लिए खुशहाली हो, हम यही चाहेंगे।
तो मैम जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, थैंक यू वेरी मच,
बहुत थैंक यू आने के लिए और हमारी खुशी में शामिल होने के लिए।
थैंक यू।